G'day everyone, welcome back to another Twisted Tangents. My name is Tom.
No, I'm Bonnie.
And I hope you're sitting down because we're jumping back into Vlad Part 2 and shit's getting heavy. This is where it really starts to get brutal. I promised that it was going to get brutal. I said last week that it was a little bit tame last week. And I'm certainly going to be making up for it in this one. And most definitely in the third episode. This is going to be a 3-part episode on Vlad the Impaler. The inspiration for Bram Stoker's Dracula.
Last week was just a bit of a chance to get you hooked. First one's free. Bit of a toe dip.
Yeah, it was a cheeky little melting of the eyes, you might say. And, that's nothing. That's child's play compared to what we're going to be getting into today. So, without further ado, I'm jumping straight into it. And this is part 2 of Vlad the Impaler. Now, Vlad's closest family, besides his younger brother Radu, was the ruling family of Moldavia. 20 years earlier, Vlad Dracul had married into the family. In 1949, Vlad III went in search for his long-lost family. He settled in the capital of Moldavia, Suceava. I'm going to butcher a lot of names in this one. I'm just going to... Suceava.
Suceava.
Yeah, how do you think that's pronounced? Suceava? Suceava?
Something like that.
Yeah, it was the capital of Moldavia, which was ruled by Vlad's uncle by marriage, Bogdan II.
Bogdan.
How's that for a name, Bogdan?
That's really mean.
The second as well. He's not like... It's not just some...
He's not the first Bogdan.
Yeah,
it's not an isolated
he's
incident.
definitely not the first Bogdan. He didn't pass it on to his sons as far as I know. Not the ones in this story anyway.
Thank God.
Yeah, but this is a time where families, especially families with him that had power, had lots of children. Like, they had an absolute crap ton of children. So, there very well could be a Bogdan III, but he just doesn't come up in this particular story. So, Vlad very quickly became friends with Bogdan's son, Stefan.
So his
cousin.
Yep.
Yeah, Stefan. Like, you got Bogdan, you got Vlad. You got all these weird, and you got Stefan.
Yeah, that's okay.
It's a normal modern name,
Yeah.
which is quite refreshing. I like it. The pair studied together, and in October of 1451, Bogdan II was assassinated, and the assassin took over the throne of Moldavia. Stefan, and Vlad both fled for their lives back to Transylvania and back to Hunyadi.
I'm sorry, but when somebody gets assassinated and they've got kids and stuff, isn't there other people in line for the throne?
There are, but this is kind of it's one of those times where if you just walk in and go, I'm the prince.
This is mine now?
Then that's, yeah.
Right.
Yeah, it's kind of like you call shotgun, it's yours. Like the front seat of a car. You call it, it's yours. No one can do anything. No one can touch you. No one can do anything. You called it.
Like Scarred Mufasa?
Exactly. 100%. This is exactly like that.
Okay.
Mufasa was murdered and Scar went, I'll take that, thanks, that's mine. Even though Simba was the rightful heir to the throne, he couldn't have it because Scar called shotgun. So for the next year, Vlad moved all around Transylvania, keeping one step ahead of Hunyadi. By February of 1452, Vlad was hiding in the city of Brasov. Hunyadi instructed the city's leaders, "It is better that you capture him and chase him out of your country." Not long after this, Vlad managed to escape an assassination attempt in the city of Sibiu. Sibiu.
Sibiu.
This one comes up a lot.
Sibiu. Yeah.
Sibiu.
Yeah, it sounds
I'm
about right.
probably it's probably like a soft B or something. It's probably some completely different pronunciation for this.
Probably.
But I am not Romanian, nor am I of Romanian descent, so I don't know how to pronounce majority of everything in this. So if I butchered it and you're from there and you know the correct pronunciation, let us know. Let us know that we've completely butchered it, and I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm sorry, but I am not, and I'm not intelligent enough to be able to pronounce some of these places. Eventually, though, Hunyadi had a change of heart and lost faith in his ally Vladislav II. Hunyadi had discovered that he had been negotiating with the Turkish Sultan, and as a result, he could no longer be trusted to defend the border against the Turks. Hunyadi turned to Vlad, and the pair met in Hunyadi's mountain fortress. This meeting must have been rather tense, as Hunyadi was partly responsible for the death of Vlad's brother and his father, while Vlad was fairly close to Hunyadi's enemy, the Turks. Somehow, though, the pair managed to trust each other just enough. Vlad was somewhat forced into trusting Hunyadi as he was without a country. Hunyadi, on the other hand, needed someone he could trust, as his spies had warned him about a Turkish attack on Constantinople that was on the way.
That's not a place anymore, is it?
Constantinople? It's a song now.
Yeah, but is it still a place?
I don't think so. I feel like it's been renamed.
Yeah, I feel like it's something else now.
Yeah, because after all of this, I think it ended up becoming, like, most of the places in here end up becoming like Romania or something, like modern Romania.
Yeah.
So what's...
yeah, it's now Istanbul.
Istanbul, there you go.
Istanbul.
And how does the song go? Because every time I wrote the word Constantinople, I kept going, there's a song about Constantinople.
Yeah, I can kind of picture it, but I can't give it to you.
Yeah. I remember it was just like Constantinople. And like, it just kept saying that. That's the only part that I can actually remember from it. Because I don't think that the song was in a genre of music that I listened to ever. So I don't think that's probably the reason why I never actually listened to it.
It's pretty much a song. It's actually called Istanbul, in brackets, not Constantinople, and they're singing about the change of the name.
Well, there you go. So exactly what we were talking about. Yeah, that every time I wrote Constantinople, all I could think of, Constantinople. Constantinople. That was it, because I don't know the rest of the song. But
it does have a lot of words.
Yeah.
Really fast.
And it's not a song that I listen to regularly.
No.
But it's just kind of a fun song.
And it has like a really bad caricature of like Porky Pig and the Roadrunner in the video. It's really old.
Yeah, right, okay. Yeah, that's all I could think about when I wrote Constantinople. And I write it a lot. A bit like when I was in the last episode, every time I said the Ottoman Empire, and all you thought about was Ottoman footstools fighting with spears.
Yeah, sorry about that, guys.
I had the same thing with Constantinople, so, it is what it is.
Istanbul.
No, because it's Constantinople, because we're in the 1400s.
Well, okay.
Even if I might occasionally say 1900s. Still the 1400s. So Vlad was put in charge of the southern border. He was put into the city of Sibiu, just 50 miles from his birthplace. Vlad's job was much like that of his father's 20 years earlier, to defend the southern border from any Turkish invaders. With this job came an understanding that Hunyadi would help Vlad take back the throne of Wallachia. During the spring of 1453, the Turkish Sultan Murad II died and was replaced by his son Muhammad. The new Sultan did not try to hide his intentions. After his father's death, he began to cut off Constantinople from the rest of the world. The city sat on the Bosporus Strait, a thin line of water connecting the Black Sea with the Sea of Marmara. Marmara. I'm going to go with Marmara on that one. Sounds right. Marmara. Marmara.
Okay.
Yeah. Muhammad built a giant fortress on the western shore of the Bosporus. He closed the waterway to anyone who wouldn't pay a fee. This fortress would later be known as Cutthroat Castle. That is a fucking cool name.
So that's where
For a
Toll
castle.
started.
Yes. Yeah, so we can literally blame the Turks for tolls.
Yeah, right. Fair
Fucking
enough.
assholes.
That's real shit.
I'm sure they did some good things. That is not one of them.
Turkish
Making
Delight's
toll.
pretty good.
If you're into that kind of thing, sure. I am not.
If it doesn't give you a rash.
Well, yeah.
Like it does to me.
Well, yeah, but that's only because you're allergic.
Yeah, I know.
So, yeah. You got no one else to blame but your parents.
Turkish coffee's really strong and nice.
Not actually had Turkish coffee, which I'm surprised about because
I have.
I love coffee. Muhammad also hired gun makers to build cannons for the Turks, the largest being able to fire 600-pound or 272 kilo metal projectiles and took 15 pairs of oxen to move.
Sick!
That's fucked.
That's amazing. That's like you and me combined.
Yeah. That's a lot.
That's-
And more.
That's heavy as fuck. That's like us and the kids.
That's our entire family.
Jesus.
Just in like a metal
In a ball.
ball. Yeah. The city of Constantinople was in dire circumstances. Their army of just 20,000 soldiers had to defend 14 miles of walls. As the story goes, during spring, the people of the city began to see signs of their end. A strange red glow lit the cathedral of St. Sophia. Some thought it was a firelight from Turkish campfires surrounding the city, while others thought it was Hunyadi coming to save them. The sun disappeared in an eclipse. Constant rain flooded the streets and a thick fog blanketed the city. Some say this was God leaving the city and didn't want anyone to see him go.
I was going to say, it sounds like God.
Yeah, God's just like, oh, you're fucked, I'm out. Oh, I don't want to get fucked by this. I'm out.
Catcha!
The Turkish have got this one. You're outnumbered. I'm out. In May, the battle began. Over 100,000 Turkish soldiers descended upon Constantinople. For days on end, the city walls were blasted with cannon fire. A fleet of 100 ships shot at the walls facing the sea. On May 29th, countless soldiers stormed the city through the holes in the walls. Emperor Constantine XI came down from his throne to fight alongside the Constantinople soldiers. In a few short days, he was killed by a Turkish soldier, and with him fell Constantinople. News of the Turkish triumph travelled around Europe. Pope Nicholas V said that the light of Christianity had gone out, and we shall not see it again in our lifetime. Feel like that's maybe a little bit drastic.
So is that when it turned into Istanbul?
Whose temple?
Is that when it turned into Istanbul?
Ah, no.
Oh.
It's still constant. I don't know when it changed from Constantinople to Istanbul, but that's probably a long, hundreds of years later, I'm going to
Okay.
guess. News reached Vlad through a Romanian bishop who managed to escape Constantinople and fled to Wallachia. He sent a letter to the leader of Sibiu, where Vlad was watching over the borders. The Turkish army had their eyes set on Belgrade. Standing between the Turkish army and the next target was Sibiu and Vlad. Over the next 3 years, Vlad and Hunyadi prepared for the coming battle, determined to protect Belgrade, regardless of the cost. Belgrade sat upon a hill, guarding the Danube. If it fell, the river would be wide open to Western Europe. 3-layer thick walls protected the city, along with an army of just 5,000 men. Belgrade would certainly need help if the Turks decided to attack. Sultan Muhammad had a 90,000 strong army waiting at Adrianople, and a fleet of 60 ships waiting where the Danube opened into the Black Sea. In June of 1456, the attack began. The army moved up the Danube. Oxen hauled 27 huge cannons, and the ships followed up the river. As the Turks closed in, Hunyadi had a 70-year-old friar named John of Capistrano led a force of 16,000 men toward the city. Vlad led another army down toward Wallachia. His job was to prevent Vladislav II from helping the Turks. The Turks surrounded Belgrade and blasted the walls with cannon fire. On the 21st of July, Sultan Muhammad ordered the final attack on the city. Hunyadi and his army of Hungarian soldiers, alongside John of Capistrano and his army of poor farmers armed with pitchforks, clubs, and other weapons they found lying around, managed to fight off the Turkish assault.
Shit, eh? Good on ya.
And all I can picture is the angry mob on The Simpsons with
That's
their
what I was
flaming
thinking.
torches.
As soon as you said pitchforks and shit they had lying around, I just thought of one of those like angry mobs that runs people out of town.
I think that was literally what it was.
Yeah,
They
right.
literally just grabbed anyone that was willing to fight and just went, cool, pick up a stick and let's go.
Well, listen, if they're actually willing to fight, they're probably going to put some effort into it, so it's probably a good idea.
And it worked.
Yeah, shit.
The Turkish army, the Ottoman Empire, were defeated by pitchforks and farmers and sticks.
Celebrate good times.
Come on!
Do. It's a Turkish Turkish loss. It's not a Turkish celebration.
No, it's not a Turkish celebration. It's a Hungarian celebration.
It's a Turkish massacre.
Well, it was. Because the Turkish army lost around 24,000 men and
Wow.
Belgrade was once again safe. Meanwhile, in Wallachia, Vlad and his army launched an attack on Vladislav II.
So he's fighting his own family now.
No. Vladislav is not related.
I thought Vladislav was like a cousin or something.
I don't believe so.
Okay.
Vladislav died during the battle against Vlad and his small army. During August of 1456, just like his father before him, Vlad III declared himself the Prince of Wallachia. A deadly plague followed the Turks up the Danube, likely carried by rats on the ships. By the time the news of Vlad's triumph over Vladislav II reached Transylvania, Hunyadi was not strong enough to fight off the plague. Janos Hunyadi died on August 11th at 50 years old.
From the rat plague.
From the Black Death.
Wow.
Yes.
So he'd fought all these battles and fought all these people and died from the plague.
Yep.
That's really shit ass.
He's just successfully defended Belgrade from an attack with him, some Hungarian soldiers and some farmers fought off a force of 90,000 Turkish soldiers, killing 24,000 of them.
And he dies from the plague.
And then cops the plague.
Unlucky.
I actually kind of feel bad because Hunyadi, he's just starting to become good.
Yeah.
He's like a complete dick between him and Vlad. Like, he's just like, fuck you, I'm gonna kill your family. And then now it's just like, let's work together, let's become friends, and I'll get you into the throne. And then it's like, oh, I caught the Black Death. Oh, I'm dead. And that was before he found out about his triumph over Vladislav II. So he didn't even get to hear the good news.
Yeah.
So with the Black Death quickly spreading, many people, especially the boyars, abandoned Vlad and fled to the mountains. Eventually, they slowly decided to return to life under their new prince. With around 500,000 people under his control, Vlad would soon become more feared than the Turks. He quickly signed treaties with the Transylvanian cities of Sibiu and Brasov, as well as pledged his loyalty to the King of Hungary. In 1457, Vlad, along with 6,000-man army, helped his cousin, Stefan, invade Moldavia and take back the throne of his father's assassin.
Yay!
He's doing some good.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's that family bond. Stay strong with your family.
Yeah.
Especially if it happens to be Vlad the Impaler. Sultan Muhammad kept a close eye on Vlad, and before long he sent ambassadors to Wallachia. They demanded that Vlad pay a sum of 2,000 gold pieces and let Turkish soldiers pass through the city on their raids on Transylvania. Vlad agreed, despite his treaties with Sibiu and Brasov. So you can see he's very much like his father.
I was going to say, man, don't start acting like your dad. You're
Yeah.
doing so good.
Yeah, the way that they both rule is quite similar.
You have become everything you hate.
I feel like replace the word hate with love. I feel like Vlad III idolized his father and the way that he ruled by not giving a fuck.
Yeah.
Because he rules in a very similar, albeit much more cruel and sadistic way. But he'll fuck over anyone to get what he wants. He don't give a shit.
Yeah, but see, I hate my dad and I'm turning out exactly fucking like him. It's just a thing. Which I hate every day, but you know, it's a fucking thing that happens apparently.
Yeah, well, that's just unfortunate for you then, isn't it?
And you.
Yeah, shit. Moving right along. Vlad impressed foreign visitors with his high level of education and language skills. However, those that saw him day in and day out saw a very different side of Vlad. A little bit like an abusive relationship. All fucking roses on the outside and whatever, happy times on the outside, but behind closed doors, it's when the stern hand comes out. The boyars, in particular, copped it. For many years, they shared power with the Prince of Wallachia, helping him to govern the city. They helped make laws, approved or rejected decisions made by the prince, and in 1457 many of the boyars supported Vladislav II. They were very suspicious of Vlad, and rightly so. He believed that a prince shouldn't have to answer to anyone, and decided the best way to get the boyars to obey him was to terrorize them.
Listen, if I was the prince and there was no one above me, I would pretty much feel like I wouldn't have to answer to anyone.
Oh yeah, I totally get where Vlad's coming from with that. But at the same time, I also see where the boyars are coming from in the fact of we're rich and you're the prince, so we need to work together because we're both rich.
Yeah.
Because the boyars are like all the landowners and everything.
Boyars are like the Rothschilds.
I guess. Probably not as rich as that. They happen to own land, so that makes them rich in this time. The Wallachians got their first taste of Vlad the Impaler during what became known as the Easter Massacre of 1457.
Nice.
Vlad invited the boyars in for a feast. When they had finished, he locked the doors and ordered his guards to take the boyars and impale them one by one.
Oh, fuck.
This was done by attaching each of their legs to a horse and slowly forcing an oiled and slightly sharpened stake into their body, usually through the anus, but sometimes through the chest.
Oh, fuck.
The stake was never too sharp, as that would kill the victim too quickly, and Vlad would not enjoy it nearly as much. They spent the next few days slowly dying in excruciating pain and agony.
At least he let them eat first. At least he treated them to a feast.
At least they're dying on a full stomach.
Yeah.
And that's what...
In these kind of situations, you have to look at the silver lining. And that is about it.
Yeah, that's literally the only silver lining.
Because if I had had a slightly sharpened, slightly oiled stick pushed up my ass, I'd be like, well, at least that fucking turkey was tasty.
It was a juicy and moist turkey.
Oh, God.
When it was forced through the anus, it was... wait for it. It was forced all the way until it protruded out of their mouth.
Oh, no.
They could taste their shit.
Oh, that makes me feel sick.
With the victim officially impaled, the stake would then be placed into the ground with the victim a number of feet off the ground. The victim's height generally related directly to their social status. Vlad's impaled victims were often left for months on end to slowly rot.
Like a warning? Like, were they out in the open where public could see them?
No, 100%. They're just out in the middle of the street.
So, like a warning.
Yeah.
To be like, don't fuck with me or your ass will end up on a stick.
Yeah, pretty much.
Fuck.
Yeah, and he did this time and time and time again.
Well, I figure that's where he gets the nickname.
Yeah. So I don't know how many boyars he had at this first massacre, but I'm going to say it was quite a few.
Although, if fucking 4 people get killed in Australia, it's considered a massacre.
Yeah, but you're dealing with someone who killed, in his life, they say up to 100,000 people were killed at the hand of Vlad the Impaler.
Yeah.
Which is a hell of a lot. 100,000 people.
They weren't all put on sticks, were they?
No.
That's a lot of fucking sticks. That'd take up like the entire country.
Yeah, no. He did have other methods that he enjoyed, which we will be getting into later on.
Oh, okay, lovely.
Yes, it's all just as sick and twisted and cruel and sadistic as being impaled. I think impalement is probably the worst.
Bring back serial killers like this. Honestly, they're a bit boring these days. Start putting your victims on sticks again out in the street.
Yeah, make it known. Make a statement.
You want to do this weird shit? Make it real fucking weird.
This guy, Vlad the Impaler, is like the ultimate Halloween decorator.
Fuck.
Serious. He is. He's the ultimate decorator.
I'm getting some new ideas for this year.
You're going to start impaling people and putting them in the front lawn?
Not real people.
Oh. But I can think of a few. But the really sick, twisted thing about this is children weren't exempt from being impaled.
I figured.
It was literally like anyone and everyone would get impaled. He did not discriminate.
Well, that's good of him.
So he wasn't a discriminating person. So kudos to him for that, because there's a lot of people nowadays that will discriminate against everyone, and he was not that person. So if there's, you're talking about silver lining, he was not discriminatory. Is that the right word?
Yes.
Yeah. He was not that, so that's good.
Yeah, I feel like mine was better.
Shut up. So after the guards had finished impaling the boyars at the feast, they rounded up the younger boyars of the city, along with women and children, and chained them together. They marched them...
Three-legged race!
They were all chained up in a line, and they were marched some 50 miles up the Argus River into the mountains, where at the top lay the ruins of an old castle. Vlad put them to work rebuilding it. The prisoners down the bottom of the human chain slaved over hot ovens, making bricks, which would then be sent up the line to the castle. It's unclear just how many died during the rebuild, but eventually it was finished. This would be known as Ponary Fortress, or Castle Dracula.
Cool.
That's fucking badass.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
The name, not the whole human chain, people dying, slaving over hot ovens, making hot bricks just to build the car. No, literally just the name is fucking awesome.
Yeah.
I want to live in Castle Dracula.
Yeah, you definitely don't now. So
Maybe not in the actual Castle Dracula, but I want to build a modern castle and call it Castle Dracula because it's fucking cool.
you can have a 5-bedroom, 2-story house, and we'll put a sign out the front.
I'm okay with this.
Just say Castle Dracula on the mailbox.
I'm okay with that. That's fine. I mean, the sign that we've got at our front door saying, what is it, where dead come in?
Come in, we're dead.
Come in, we're dead is enough. I mean, the amount of people that come trying to sell something or convert religion or get you to sign up for some charity bullshit, they go, oh, I thought everyone was dead.
And the fact that we've got a bit of a horror movie shrine in the foyer of the house tends to deter them.
I'm just fucking sick of everyone saying the exact same joke when we open the door.
Yeah. Yeah,
I should just start opening the door and start off with, no, we're not actually dead. I should just start opening the door with that and just get rid of the joke from the start. And I need to get the Satanic Bible and put it behind, especially for the religious ones.
Yeah.
For when I go, actually, Satanist. Because it's a much fairer life than your God. So anyway, during the first few years of Vlad's reign, most of the boyars were gone. Some were executed, others fled to Transylvania, while the rest fled to Turkey, where Radu had become an officer in the Turkish army. The attacks on the boyars, whilst cruel and sadistic, weren't without thought. Vlad had a plan for Wallachia, and to achieve his goals he would use terror. Princes never lasted long during these particularly violent times, but Vlad was determined to stay in power for as long as possible. He wanted everyone to live by the law and demanded complete loyalty from his subjects. His way of keeping everyone in line was to have them live in a state of constant terror and fear.
Yeah, that's fair.
And I think that's why he's got all of his impaled people just in the street.
Yeah.
Because if you're living in one of these villages in this city and you're walking and the streets are fucking lined with people impaled,
people on sticks,
and a lot of them would probably be like quite possibly could still be alive.
Yeah.
To do this, he reorganized the Wallahian military force. He created a new group. Okay, this is where I'm really going to butcher some words.
Okay.
Citeji. He created a new group called the Citeji? He created a new group who would lead the army against any attacks.
Right.
He set up a national guard called the Sluji? I don't get these words. Really, they're just some weird words for me anyway. There's probably people out there listening going, oh no, it's this. This is how you pronounce it. It's really easy. Who acted as a police force. They protected the castles and cracked down on political enemies who helped chase lawbreakers. Those who were convicted of a crime were handed over to a third group called the Armasi, who served as executioners. The tools of the trade were typically chains, axes, swords, and of course, stakes. Many of the new recruits were from the lower class, peasants and craftsmen. Over time, they would start to see Vlad as their protector. He gave them important positions within the court and reduced tax for peasants. He took land from the boyars' estates and gave it to the poorer families. He made sure that rich people couldn't buy their way out of punishment from any crimes they may commit.
That should be applicable all the time forever.
What? The lower tax for poorer families?
And that rich people shouldn't be able to buy their way out of crimes that they've done.
No, but I mean, they can't really do that nowadays as easily as they could in the 1400s. Back then, it was just pay the king some money and you're off scot-free.
I
'Cause
don't
the
know.
king
Some
has-
people make it all go away.
Well, yes, they do. I said for the most part. I didn't say completely 100%. I said for the most part. So he's bringing everyone onto a level playing field. However, he was not a friend of the poor and despised anyone who relied on the support of others. As legend has it, one day Vlad rounded up all of the homeless and beggars, the blind and the lame, and invited them in for a feast.
Oh, is he going to put them all on sticks?
You know what happens when Vlad invites you for a... If a Vlad says, come around to my place and have a feast, you say,
No thanks,
the
I'm
wife's
fine.
cooking, sorry. The wife's cooking. I was at the pub last night. I've got to try and make it up to her. I really need to be home. It's a roast. I'm really looking forward to it. You do literally anything to get out of going to one of Vlad's
Not really
feasts.
hungry. I had a big breakfast.
Yeah. I ate last Tuesday. I'm chockers. Really, I am. I'm fine, thanks. So when all of his guests had finished eating and drinking, because he always gave them lots of alcohol, Vlad locked all of the doors and he set the building on fire, killing everyone inside. Vlad then claimed that he had cured the homelessness problem.
That's one way to do it.
Yes.
How about we tell Melbourne's Lord Mayor?
What, to round up all the homeless people and feed them and then lock them and set the building on fire? I don't know what her name is. Maybe old mate Robert Doyle might have thought about it, but I feel like the new mayor is probably going to be like, actually, that's illegal. I'm not going to do it.
Just letting you know. Side note.
Oh yeah.
In the Romanian language, a J is pronounced like the S in measure or the J in bonjour. So it's got a real je.
Je. So those words that I was saying would be Siteji or sluji.
Yeah, like a je.
Je. Sluji. Siteji.
And apparently Romanian is very phonetic.
Phonetic. Okay. So I might be right in some
Fairly
way.
phonetic, yes.
Okay. Vlad was also unrelenting with thieves, impaling someone for stealing just a few pieces of gold. He enjoyed testing his subjects by placing a gold cup next to a well near his castle. Unsurprisingly, no one touched it.
Yeah. Yeah.
He basically was baiting people to break the law just so he could impale them. That's how much he loved impaling people. He took genuine joy out of impaling someone.
I feel like that's also a tad bit of a power trip.
Oh, 100%.
Like, definite power's gone to your head.
Yeah, definitely. Like, at no point is he just like, oh, yeah, I guess I'm the prince of
That's
Lahia.
small dick energy right there.
Yeah, I bet he probably had a micro penis.
Yeah,
and that's why he wanted the stakes.
Yeah.
Some people buy a car with a really long bonnet on it. Other people buy hundreds of thousands of stakes and just go around impaling everyone. Each to their own, I guess.
Foreigners walk into the town and be like, oh, the prince must be overcompensating for something.
According to another story, an Italian merchant asked Vlad for shelter for the night.
No, you're going to die.
Vlad agreed, but he asked him to leave his belongings outside. The next morning, the man's gold was gone. Vlad reassured him that he would find the thief and the gold. Vlad replaced the gold and added an extra coin to trick the merchant. After he found the gold, the merchant told Vlad and mentioned the extra coin. Vlad claimed that if the merchant had lied about the extra coin, he would have been impaled alongside the thief.
Oh, for God's sake.
But the merchant didn't die.
I know, but
honest.
for fuck's sake.
He was honest. You just don't lie. That's all. Just don't break the law. Don't lie. You're fine.
Our kids are fucked then.
To an extent. people's private lives were even being closely monitored. Anyone caught being unfaithful received one of two punishments. They were either skinned alive or they had their limbs severed.
I feel that's a bit much for adultery.
I
honestly.
feel it's totally appropriate. It makes total sense to skin someone alive for cheating.
Give them a punch in the dick and key their car, maybe, but not skinned alive.
This is the last story. Even laziness was a crime. One peasant had clothes that were sewn in a sloppy way, and as a result, Vlad had the man's wife impaled then and there.
Is there anyone left in this town?
Yeah.
It's like 6 people left, and they're all just shaking in their boots.
Yeah, there's Vlad. He's close, like his wife, and he has a wife and son at some point. But it's kind of one of those things where they just kind of pop up at the end. There's nothing really known, especially about his wife.
Yeah.
But that's about it. Just the 3 of them hanging out in the city on their own with impaled people everywhere, and the occasional merchant passing through, going, "Anyone want to buy some goods? Got some goods to trade?" And Vlad will walk up being like, "Oh,
You want to stick up your ass, mate? Move on."
I got this large stick here. It's well oiled and slightly sharpened.
You can have it for free if you just bend over.
Bend over and let's see how far we can get it." The cost of law and order in Wallachia was tens of thousands of lives, but Vlad finally had what he had always wanted for Wallachia. He has...
Peace and quiet.
Yes, he's got a town with no one. It's just him, his missus, and their child.
Dead people on sticks.
Yeah, look, I'm not going to lie. Yeah, pretty much. Just some dead dudes hanging out.
Well, I guess if he'd got rid of everyone that he thought was a shithead, he'd pretty much have what he would consider the perfect
Well, yeah, pretty
country.
much. He wants everyone to obey his law. He wants everyone to do everything that he says without question.
Oh, what a dictator.
Oh, yeah, definitely. But that's what was required in these times.
Kim Jong, eat your heart out.
Mate, Kim Jong's got nothing on Vlad. I mean, sure, he's completely and utterly segregated North Korea from the entire world.
He's getting there. Get them sticks out, boy.
Yeah. He has. They happen to be missiles.
Yeah, instead it's like, I'm going to shoot this missile up your ass.
Yeah. Instead of just impaling one person on a missile, I'm going to do it to an entire country.
And I'm going to impale you on Mars.
Yes. So, but yeah, Vlad's very much just, this is what I want. He had his game plan set from the start. And he knew what he wanted, and he knew how to get it. And that just happened to be through fear and intimidation. Because, I mean, if you want people to obey your law and they're thinking about going against what you say, but then they see streets lined with people that are impaled, then they're probably going to listen to you and just be like, hey, look, I'm going to do what you say, just don't impale me, please.
Yeah, pretty much. I would definitely be doing that.
Yeah, but as we find out in the next episode, even people that were on Vlad's side, not breaking the law, doing what he asked, still get impaled.
Oh, dude.
He literally just, it's everyone. But that is a story for our next episode.
Okay.
That is where we will be leaving Vlad the Impaler Part 2, and we will pick it up again next week for Vlad the Impaler Part 3, the finale, where it gets super brutal. You thought it was bad now. Just wait until you hear some of the stories that are in next week's episode.
Okay, I'll try and prepare myself throughout the week.
Yeah, prepare yourself. But it's alright because when we record these podcasts, you get to sit down and then...
Prepare my anus.
Well, look... I don't think there's any amount of preparation you can be doing for impalement. Christ. Fucking hell. But I can totally see why Bram Stoker would use this as inspiration for Dracula, because this is just so insanely brutal.
Yeah.
He's definitely toned it down a hell of a lot for Dracula. Dracula has nothing on Vlad, I'll be honest. Dracula is a bit of a little bitch when it comes to everything compared to Vlad the Impaler.
Yeah.
So, but Vlad was not known as one of the most ruthless tyrants in history for no reason.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So, next week we will finish it off. Anything you want to talk about or plug while we're still recording?
Not really. Shit just seems to be going well for us lately.
Yeah, it's quite good.
So it's exciting. Everything's coming up Millhouse.
It's nice. It's
Everything's
unusual.
coming
It's
up
different.
Doolin.
It's nice.
Yeah.
Jump over onto our Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook pages and give us a follow. Leave any comments about what you think of this 3-part series. This is the first proper series that we have done, so let us know what you think about it.
DM us, leave us reviews, leave us questions, leave us comments. Send us links to cool shit that you think we'd like.
Yeah, and seeing as we're coming up to the end of Vlad the Impaler, let us know what you want to hear next.
We have a few ideas.
We've got a whole crap ton of ideas, but if there's something that you want to hear in particular, let us know and we can look into researching it. Leave us a review on whatever app you happen to listen to our podcasts on, whether that's Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Deezer, TuneIn, Radio Public. There's a crap ton of them. Pocket Casts, CastBox.
The thing that you listen to.
The thing where you listen to us talking. Leave a review on that, and that will help us out a lot. So let everyone know about us, share our stuff, help us get out there, help us reach more people, so then they can listen to the blood and the gore and the screams of those long gone.
Just the only thing I have to say about everything that you ever hear us talk about, don't try this at home.
Yeah, definitely don't try and impale someone.
Anything. Nothing. Nothing. I don't care if it's fruit or vegetables. Just don't. Because then you've got the idea in your head. Don't do it.
But, no, because some of the stuff we're going to talk about is going to be positive stuff.
Is it?
Well, when we're eventually going to be doing an episode on Ted Bundy. It's inevitable. It's going to happen. He worked in a suicide prevention hotline call center. That's a positive thing. He did a positive thing at some point in his life.
Yeah, because he was probably like, give me your address. I'll come do it for you.
No, he just did it to be good. He just did it. It wasn't like his way of getting into people's lives. So that's a good thing. If you want to work in a suicide prevention hotline call center, I say do it. Because there's not enough people. Yes, I agree with that. There are not enough people doing it. And we watched that documentary. I watched that documentary. I don't think you saw that part in Man Up, where he went into the Lifeline call center.
No, I didn't see that.
Yeah, no, I saw that, and they were just getting bombarded with calls.
We didn't finish watching that.
No, because I thought you got bored.
No, I kept falling asleep because I was tired.
Oh, okay. Well, he went into a suicide prevention Lifeline hotline call center thingy, and they were getting calls every 3 minutes or something.
Yeah.
And it was just, there was only 4 of them or something, 5 of them in there taking calls. And there were thousands of calls coming through. So.
There you go. That's another thing. If you're struggling and you want somebody to talk to, you can always talk to us.
Yeah. Our lines are always open.
And I promise you, Tom will not talk to you like that.
Unless that's what you want.
He can tell you what he's wearing. Which comic book character underwear do you have on today, babe?
I genuinely have no idea. And I'm sitting in a very confined space, so I can't even check. I'm sorry. I'm very sorry. So we're going to leave it there. Things are getting a bit silly. It's time for us to go. Hit us up on our social media accounts. Leave us a review wherever you happen to be listening to us. And don't forget to join us next week for the finale of Vlad the Impaler, aka Dracula.
Bye.
Ciao.